Hi Year 10, I hope you're alright and I hope you've had a good week this week. Obviously we're on our final week of term and I wanted to finish off this page, but you are going to have to do quite a bit of work over the summer holidays. The reason being is because I'm not 100% certain yet, none of us are, about what September's going to look like I'll fix that later. We're not 100% certain yet about what September's going to look like in terms of us being able to use our practical equipment and stuff like that. So you need to get as ahead as you possibly can in terms of practical as you can at home over summer, so that when we get back after the summer, we're able then to finish off any written work and things like that to start with if we need to. So that's why I've changed the plan this week. I was going to talk you through the written work on this page, but I think we're better off moving on to the next page and also talking about your boards and your prep boards, so you can work practically over the summer. It might mean that you need to buy some paints, because the board is going to require paints, acrylic paints. At the very, very minimum, it's going to need red, yellow and blue acrylic, so the primary colours, and then white and black. But I'll talk you through that in another video in a minute. So obviously this week, the week that's just gone, you were supposed to be spending lots of time working on your big drawing on this page. So I hope you've all managed to have a go with that. I know that was hard. It does take a long time. Please send me some photographs of where you're up to. I'd love to see what you've produced. And then you should have by now your 2 designs for your costume on there. And you should also have your artist pictures as well. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do the titles, because then that's okay we can do written work together. So as well as your pictures that you've already done, I think the next step on this page should be your titles. So I've got Julie Dodd as a subtitle and then just design ideas as a second. You're going to need design ideas as a title on the next page as well, so keep hold of the title you print off if you're going to print it, and then you can use it on the next page too. So I think I might have done on the first video about how I did that. It was the technique where I used my phone and I screenshotted a font from dafont.com and I put it underneath the book, and then I traced through from my phone to get the title to show through. Or you can do that technique that we do at school where you print it off and then scribble on the back and then trace it through. Or you can go for it freehand if you're feeling confident. On the second title, actually, I ended up going freehand because I had this one to copy, but I'll show you that in a minute. So once you've done your main drawing, your pictures, your designs and your titles, you then just need to finish off the page by adding some 3D elements to it. Now obviously mine have got a bit squished now because the book's been closed, which is fine. That's going to happen. There's no way of getting around that. So these are just sample pieces of the pieces that you've made for your costume, and I've put some of them around the outside edge of the designs, and then some incorporated within my drawing aspect of it, and some to kind of extend off the pictures of Julie Dodd's work. So that's what I want you to do to finish off this page. And then the written work we were going to talk through today, but like I say, because I don't know where we're going to be up to in September, we're going to be in a good position to be able to do that when we get back. So I'd rather you work practically at home rather than on stuff like that, because that can be done like last minute if we need to. So then after you've completed this page in the way I've asked without the writing, you could even do a second little drawing if you want to. Then you're going to move on to this next page, and I'm going to explain this next page now. So I've not done any writing on this yet. So the second page is in preparation for a second outcome. And the second outcome, so we've got the costume that we're making that you've already made the bits for, and we're also going to be doing a painting. So this is pencil crayon that explains what that painting's going to look like. So they're small circles. These are small circles, but the painting's going to be quite a large circle painting, with a black background to start with, and then it's going to have all different corals all the way around the outside. I will put on the PowerPoint that I linked this video to a picture of mine so far, my painting that I've done, so you can see the sort of thing. So these two here are design ideas, pretty similar to how you did your costume design. Design ideas of how you might want your painting to look and what coral you might want to put into your painting. So again, the title of this page is design ideas as well. And then running along the bottom, these are just collage pictures. So these are secondary research pictures that I've taken from the internet. Notice how all of the pictures I've chosen are good quality photos. None of them are blurry. They're all quite big, and they run along the bottom. Now, if you've got time over the summer, which a lot of you might do, it could be a nice idea to, instead of having every single one of them as a picture, you might replace, say, this one or this one with a drawing. So you can make the collage with your pictures, but then certain ones might be actually hand drawn or hand coloured if you want to use colour on it as well. So that's an extension if you want, you know, a higher mark. Then around the outside edge of my collage there, if you notice, I've put kind of that glow shading around the edge. I'm obsessed with doing that now. Look at the titles, same as well. I've done that with actually a black pencil crayon for this and let it go lighter, and then I added some blue into it as well, because I really want this this page is more linked to the boards that we've made. So this is the outcome that kind of will go with those boards that we started at school. So I'm going to show you that on the next video, the board. So all the artists that we looked at on that board, they are all what's inspired this painting. So this is the outcome that goes alongside it. So I want you to look at the photographs of the coral that you found and start to put that into a composition. Now, we spoke about composition before. Composition is an arrangement of different objects or things that make up a painting. So the arrangement of that painting. So if you notice here, I've got a nice arrangement of different coral that creates this design. The reason why it works well is because I've got some large pieces in the painting and some smaller detail as well. So that large against small works nicely. Thinking about colours, so we know that green and red are complementary colours, so that's why that works well. We've got cool colours and we've got hot colours, so that's something that you can consider. So in a painting, and I know you've talked about this when you were in the lower years, any piece of art that you create, you think about what we call the formal elements of art. The formal elements. And the formal elements, if you don't know them, maybe have a look into them online as well. They are line, tone, texture, colour, shape, form, and composition. So if you consider all of those things in the piece that you're making, that's what makes a good piece. So I'm thinking about composition and the arrangement. I'm thinking about colour and how the colours link together. We're thinking about texture because we're thinking about the different textures in our coral. We're thinking about shapes because we've got the shapes within it. We're thinking about the form because we've got the shade to create form, and also we're looking at tone with those the sorts of colour that we're putting on it. So as long as you're considering all of those things when you're designing it, again here we've got that green very close to the red, we've got the hot colours and the cool colours, we've got the different shapes that go alongside each other, because it wouldn't work if the entire thing was made up of these sorts of coral, because they're similar shapes. But these coral work really nicely together with these coral, which work really nicely together with these, and it kind of builds up this picture because you've got a range, more of a range. Now when I drew out these designs before I had tonal shading with my pencil crayons, I used actually a what's it called, a coaster, you know, that you put your cup of tea on, and mine are circular. So I just used that as my kind of template, but you can use your compass if you want to. I think about 5 centimetres would be perfect, 5 centimetre radius of your circle. So think about size at 2 or 3. 3 obviously would be better than 2 because you're showing the examiner that you've got a range of ideas. Then I just sketched it out really lightly with pencil, my design ideas, and then used my coloured pencils really subtly, but really skillfully. So remember, I've always said when it comes, even at Key Stage 3, when we're using pencil crayons, it's just as important with pencil crayons to use them as sharp as you would a normal pencil, to get those really crisp edges when you're shading and kind of mixing your colours together. Here we've got the blue, and then over the top of that blue I've put some of the red, and then you can see here that it gets lighter as I get further away, and that one is inspired by this coral here, so you can see how I'm trying to get the tones and shades out of it. And then I've got this one here, can you see the lines that I've put over the top of that? So that's built up over time, so it's gone really light blue, the black, and then I've gone quite hard with my blue line there to replicate this sort of coral here. I've got this coral, that's the picture there, that's my representation of that coral with all the different marks that I've put. So mark making is important as well, what kind of marks you would see. We have, I'm trying to see what other pictures I've got. These ones here are kind of a representation of these coral down here. We've got those, the picture there I've done here, and used different shades and different tones to build up that. Got the marine sponge, using the green shades. Can you see how I've built up different it would be bad of me to just put those as yellow, you know, just block yellow. I've built up the different tones that you can see within the marine sponge here using the different tones of the pencil crayons. So have a think about that when you're doing it. So that's this page, so at least 2 designs. I would prefer 3, and then you can see my painting, so you can see what I'm thinking as like a final piece. It's not finished yet, the painting, but it's good to have those designs in place ready, so that when we come to do them when we get back, we're ready to go. And obviously don't forget your bottom bit, that's the collage, and if you want to, you can add your own drawing to the bottom bit. The next video is going to be about your board, and obviously if you haven't got your board at home, then it's going to be really difficult for you to do because you haven't got the board. What I would recommend for those people that don't have their board at home, you might want to turn another double page and paint your page the way we did the board. So black first and then blue over the top like we did on the boards, and kind of replicate what we're doing on the boards but in your sketchbook, because otherwise we might not have time to finish what I want to do for those boards. The boards, if you don't have it at home, we can use them if they're at school, but if you want to catch up and you want to be ready for September and you want to do some work over the summer, then if you haven't got your board, you're best replicating it in your sketchbook. If anybody's got any questions about that, email me and say, I've left my board at home, what do you want me to do? And I'll explain it better. So the next video is going to be board.